Hey Russell fam, in today's video I'm going to share with you the curriculum that I am using for my second grader. Be back in just a second. Hi, my name is Becky and welcome to our Russell's Loving Life YouTube channel. Here on this channel we talk about homeschooling, homemaking, and everything in between. I am a homeschooling mom of 2 and I have been homeschooling since 2012. We also have a blog which is russellslovinglife.com. Make sure to check that out. There, I give you tips and tricks and things that I have learned through my years of homeschooling. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that little bell notification down at the bottom. That just lets you know every time we upload a new video. And if you are a returning Russell fam, we are so glad you are back. In today's video, I am going to show you what curriculum I am using for my second grader. So be on the lookout for Do a Lesson With Us videos. Those should be coming soon. So let's turn this camera around and I'll show you what I'm using. Okay, here are the curriculum that I am using for second grade. This is my second time to teach My Father's World Adventures in U.S. History. If you're new to this channel, I have been using My Father's World curriculum for 8 years and I love it. It works great for our family. And if you are new to homeschooling, I highly suggest that you get a box curriculum like My Father's World because it gives you everything that you need. But we use My Father's World for history, for science, and for Bible. All right, here is the Teacher's Manual to Adventures in U.S. History by My Father's World. And like I said, this is my second time teaching this, so there's probably going to be lots of writing and things like that in there. You can see this is week 10 and I was teaching Bailey a curriculum here and that's what we did with spelling. And then also he was doing Saxon level 2 and that's what these lessons are that we were doing here. So you're going to see a bunch of writing in here, but let me just show you what it looks like. Let's just go to week 6. Okay. So it's going to tell you right here for the Bible part, you're talking about Jesus, the bread of life, and it says see notes. Anytime it says see notes, you're going to flip over here to your 6-week notes, and then it tells you everything that you need to know and everything you need to say, read, and do here for that. And if you also notice down there, it's talking about The Courage of Sarah Noble. That is talking about our history stuff. So here's the history with the patriotic songs. And then right here, the American history, it's telling us to go there. So what we're going to do is I'll just show you. We'll go to the American Pioneers and Patriots book, which is right here. And it's telling us to go to page 42 and 44. And this is what we are studying that day. And see, it's kind of telling a story. And we go over one more page, 44. And it has pretty pictures, painting in there. And what I typically do is, yes, I have a second grader that can read, but I typically do most of the reading and then I'll ask questions after I read. So that is what we were doing that day in history. And there is a spelling in English that goes along with My Father's World that I used back when I did this with Bailey, but I'm currently not using those. Stay tuned to videos to see what I'll be using for that. And I use Saxon math, and also I'll be showing you flip-throughs and do-a lessons with all of this that I use for second grade. But I just wanted to show you a flip-through of My Father's World. So that was week 6. Let me jump through kind of here to the middle. Once we get to week 28, it's kind of the same thing. There's your Bible, your language arts, your history, the science, the music, the patriotic songs, your math, reading, and here are the extras down here. And the same every week it tells you the materials that you're going to need, and it tells you notes for every day of the week. And then if you go to the back of My Father's World, there's some stuff in here to copy and cut out. Of course, I copied it because I knew I'd be using this curriculum again. But anyway, when you get back here to the back, which I'm trying to show you, it's recommended books for your book basket, and it's broken down by weeks. So if you're looking for extra books to add to your book basket, your morning basket, your afternoon basket, just extra read alouds, it provides all of that for you. And here's week 2. So that is always very helpful. And let's see. Once you get back into, like here's some Thanksgiving that tells you books, extra ones to read. Week 14 is talking about states. So it just gives you lots and lots of great, wonderful resources. Can't talk because My Father's World is Charlotte Mason based, which is through Living Books. So as many books as you can get, that is what they are wanting and encouraging here. Okay, so that was the teacher's manual. So now let's go to the worksheets. Okay, because I am from Mississippi, I totally understand what is going on. And because I've taught this before, there is a sticker sheet back here that has all of the state flags. And we went through this last year with Bailey, but because I'm from Mississippi, I know our state flag changed when we got the stickers. It was blank for Mississippi. So they included it in here. So when I get to that, you'll just see that Mississippi's is blank, and I will just add this there. So what I typically do is I take all of the worksheets and I 3-hole punch it, and I put it in a 3-ring binder, which makes keeping all these sheets together and makes life so much easier. So that's just a helpful hint right there. So let's see. These are just your cover sheets. Here is your timeline. And when you're talking about things from your timeline, you're going to put them on a wall. I use a trifold board. And so every time you talk about them, you cut them out. You can let the kids color them if they want to. Becca tends to want to color more than Bailey did. I don't know if it's girl versus boy or whatever, but if your children want to color it, let them color it, and then tape it to the wall, tape it to a trifold board, whatever you're doing to make a complete timeline of the year that you're studying. So here are the timeline. All right, and here are the Bible verses or memory verses that you're going to be learning, which I like. They have them right here for you. But if you want to look at them at your Bible, that's perfectly fine. It comes with a Bible right here. And I'll show you real quick just some of the, there's lots of colorful pictures to go along with the stories in here. And it's big print, which is easier for your 2nd graders or 3rd graders to read. So this is the Bible that comes with your 2nd or 3rd grade curriculum because it can be used for 2nd or 3rd graders. All right, let's see. And here is the Pledge of Allegiance, which I have a big poster on that on my wall. And then a map of the United States. And every worksheet is going to be labeled with the week number and the day. So this is Tuesday. So on week 1, Tuesday, we're going to be using this as one of our worksheets. The world map is telling us week 1 on Wednesday. We'll be using this. And here is this. So on week 1, Thursday, they will be copying something. Typically, this is used for the Bible verse. I cannot remember that far back. Like I said, Bailey's going into 7th grade this year, so me going back 5 years to remember exactly, I don't. But typically when it's like this, they're copying some wording from the My Father's World book or the Bible verse. And then we get into week 2 on Tuesday. So you get the gist of the worksheets. So let me just kind of, all right, and here it tells you, here's the Bible verse that you're working on for week 4. For week 6, so Tuesday, week 4, week 6, there we go. And then wording to America. And just some more copy sheets. Poor Richard's Almanac you're going to learn about. The Constitution. The Declaration of Independence, sorry. And just lots of coloring in here, writing. Just lots of fun, hands-on things to do. Okay, here is the flag sheet that I was telling you about. If you notice, Mississippi, no official flag. That's why this was included. All right, and then we get into our states. So every time you're studying a state, you will get this sheet. It will talk about the first state, and it'll go all the way in order of every state that it became a part of the United States. You're going to write the abbreviation for the state there. It's going to talk about the flower, the state bird. You're going to write the capital there, and then it shows them exactly where it is on the map. And so this is week 11 on Thursday. And then if you go to the back, it tells you the capital, the abbreviation, all information about the state. Then it tells you, did you know, some fun facts in there. And then it tells you the history of the state. And it does this on all 50 states for this year. Here again, here's another state sheet. So let's see what else is back here. More state sheets, talking about Morse code. Oops. I just want to give you a thorough flip through of all of this, because I know you can see sample sheets, but you don't get to see everything. Okay, and it also comes with these awesome flashcards that you get for every state. It talks about the state bird, the state flower, and so you can cut them out and do flashcards if you want to. I love how pretty and colorful they are. Oh, get out of order. All right, and then here is just a little cheat sheet to show you all of the state birds and flowers. So that is all of the worksheets. And like I said, it makes life so much easier just to put all of that in a 3-ring binder and punch the holes. All right, and so let's go continue with history. Okay, you've seen this book. Let me just kind of give you a quick flip through some more. And they're very fun. They're little short stories that the kids can relate to. There's questions back here at the end of each unit, so you can ask review questions. It's a pretty map. And then here, the table of contents. It shows you what each unit you'll be talking about and covering. All right, so then you have the story of the U.S. This is in my Father's World book. And it's just short little information that you'll be learning. It's black and white. So it'll keep the attention of your second or third grader. You can also use this for older kids. The curriculum is designed for you to be able to raise it up to, like if you're teaching a 7th and 8th grader, or lower it if you're using it for a 2nd or 3rd grader. Just trying to get up to the front. So here is the table of contents of everything you'll be learning, along with the page numbers. All right, and then the North American Indians. Pretty colorful book. Stories, mostly pictures. So there's that one. All right, then we have the Thanksgiving story. There again, lots of pretty pictures. And with little ones, they love seeing pictures, big writing. If you want them to try to read it, help them go through it. Okay. So there we go, the Thanksgiving story. All right, and then we have the 4th of July story. There again, lots of pretty pictures. All right, and here is the Red, White, and Blue, Level 3. If you have a good reader, they can read this book. If not, then you can just read it to them. Lots of pretty pictures, colorful. Me, I would rather read a book with lots of pretty colors instead of just reading a plain black and white one. To me, they're more interesting and more fun, but that's just me. All right, and then we'll go to science. So we have the First Encyclopedia of Science. Lots of fun things in here. And typically when you're doing the science, it'll be the 2 pages that you read together. Out of this book, it won't be more than that at a time. See, there's weather on these 2 pages. And then you go over here to living things. So lots of bright, fun, pretty pictures. What happens to food. Lots of great information. And here is some science words if you want to work on spelling and vocabulary based on science. It is back here for you. All right, and here is science with air. Lots of experiments in here. Pretty pictures. Science in the kitchen. There's your table of contents. And then we have birds and nests. Here's the table of contents. So if you spot a bird out in your yard and want to know more about it, you can flip through it. But the curriculum does have information in here for you to go through. And it also comes with a little bird feeder part, but we used that with Bailey, and after 5 years, it's kind of had it. So there you go. That is all of the flip through. For handwriting, I am using the Good and the Beautiful Level 3, and this is where they start teaching cursive. So if you're interested in teaching your second grader or third grader cursive, great curriculum. Make sure to check that out. Saxon Math. This was the first curriculum I used when I switched to Saxon for my 7th grader. So I have been teaching it for, will be my 5th year of teaching Saxon. This will be my 2nd time to use the Math Level 2. Love it. Drop me a comment if you have a question about it. All right, Saxon Math, Level 2, Grade 2, 2nd grade, however you want to say it. It comes with a teacher's manual, and it comes with 2 of these. There's a Part 1 and a Part 2, and it also comes with flashcards that you tear apart. I've got some there, and then I've got them here. And what I did is I went ahead and I took Part 1, like this book, and I just go ahead and I rip out all of the worksheets and I just put them in this binder. It makes life so much easier for me, not trying to chase loose paper all over the place. So let's put this back in here. And I just leave this in here until I get to that point, and then I will tear out Part 2 just like I did Part 1. And trying to get it where you can see it. Oh, sorry. This is your practice sheets. You can write your student's name if you're teaching more than one student. It just keeps up with their time, their assessments for their test in here. I do a grade book, so I don't keep up with this on here. There's your timesheets. And I have just found that is what works best for us, is just to keep it in a grade book instead of doing all of those, but that you may find those helpful if this is your first year. This is the oral assessments that you will do. After 10 lessons, you will do an oral assessment, as well as, I think it's a test every 5, and then oral every 10. Unless I'm getting my years mixed up, but we'll look in just a second. So there's a bunch of oral assessments. And then there again, here's another way you can keep up with their oral assessments, written assessments, and fact sheets, 1-minute time tests. All right, so this is our Lesson 2A math sheet. And A is the front side, B is the back side. And what I have learned over the years is what works best for us is if we master the front sheet and don't have any trouble with it, we don't do the back. But if we come across something that we're having trouble with, then we will do the back side of the sheet, and that works best for us. And here's Lesson 3, Lesson 4, Lesson 5. Here is what the 1-minute time tests look like. Lesson 6, 7, 8, another time test, 9, and then 10. Okay, so it is every 10 lessons with this age group. I know it's every 5 for Bailey. So here is the assessment. It's just a front page on here and the oral assessment that you have to do. And sometimes they'll add the time test in there as well. So let's get to the teacher's manual. It's a big old book, sorry. All right, here is the table of contents. And it shows you each lesson and what page you're on and what you're covering that day. So there's the first 20 lessons. When they get older, you don't have this big old book to deal with. I think it goes away after 4th grade, because I think 3rd is the next. Whoop. Paper in there from when I taught Bailey. I'm trying to show you all these lessons, so if you have any questions about what's being taught in 2nd grade. And if you're not sure which Saxon to use, if your child is currently in school, you can go by their grade level, or you can just Google Saxon placement test and you can take it for free, and then it'll recommend what curriculum you need to start with. All right, and so that was all of the lessons. It goes to 132 lessons. And then it tells you here all the materials that you're going to need for the lessons if you want to prepare by the week, by the day, however you want to do that. All right, lesson 1 is reading and identifying numbers. And it tells you things to do the night before. We don't really do the meeting book that it has with it, so I did not order one, but that is completely up to you. So this is where it's talking about the meeting. Your calendar work, we do the calendar work, I just don't do it in the book. And then everything that you see in black, bold, and quotes, that is what you say. Why do we use a calendar? And then the answer's over to the side. That is why I love Saxon when you're first starting out as a homeschooling parent. If you're not sure what to say, not sure what to do, they have the exact wordings of what you've got to say and what you've got to do for each lesson. So it was so helpful. It took a lot of stress off of me. So let's go into lesson 2, because I know there's a worksheet for that one. All right, here's lesson 2 with graph data on a graph. There again, we start out with our calendar stuff. You're asking these questions as you're going through. Then you're counting, and then you get down into the lesson. And there again, today we will learn how to show information using a graph. And you flip over. See there, it tells you what to say. You say the answers. Very, very helpful. And then it gets to the written practice down here. And then there is your worksheets, answers front and back. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. And that was our flip through of Saxon Math 2. Okay, so for our language arts, I am using Winning with Writing, Level 2. Okay, the Winning with Writing Level 2 curriculum comes with the answer key. This is your first and second semester. And then you have your workbook right here. And I love it because it is broken down like this. There's 36 weeks and there is a lesson for each day. So we do a 4-day school week. So we will double up on a lesson during the week, and that is very helpful, but I love it because it breaks it down and doesn't do a whole lot of work in one day. It just spreads it out all throughout the week. So let's flip through this. Here is the table of contents. If you want to see everything that is taught in here. So for lesson 1, we're going to be doing sentences. Lesson 2, making sentences more interesting. Lesson 3, fixing sentence run-ons. Lesson 4, correcting wordy sentences. Lesson 5, correcting choppy sentences. And then it comes back to lesson 6, which is a review, which I love so much, that my children benefit so much from the spiral effect. We don't necessarily do the mastery and you move on. Every curriculum we have has the spiral approach, and I love it. So then you get down here to lesson 6, and then it tells you that you're going to review lesson 1 through 5. So I'm just going to show you the first 6 lessons that are in here, so you can just see what this curriculum is all about. Okay, so lesson 1 is the entire week. So you'll have lesson 1, day 1. So on lesson 1, we are working on sentences for an entire week. And it gives you some reading information here. And then you turn over here and then you answer some questions. And that is all you do for lesson 1, day 1. Here's lesson 1, day 2. We're still working on sentences. It just goes a little more in depth. And then you're over here on lesson 1, day 3. Not very long lessons at all. So nothing to, this is day 4 lesson. Nothing to take a lot of time, nothing to get frustrated with your second graders. And here is lesson 1, day 5. And this was the last lesson of the week. So you see how I can do 2 lessons in a day. And I usually try to look and see which one are the shortest ones and combine them, which works well for us. So here is lesson 2, where we're making sentences more interesting. Same thing, reading and doing some work. There's lesson 2, day 2, lesson 2, day 3, lesson 2, day 4, lesson 2, day 5. So we're at the end of the week. And then we start a completely new lesson, which is fixing run-on sentences. And there's lesson 3, day 2. Lesson 3, day 3. Lesson 3, day 4. Lesson 3, day 5. And then we're starting over here, lesson 4, day 1. So there's reading, worksheets. Then here we're correcting wordy sentences. right, and there's lesson 4, day 5. Now we're on lesson 5, day 1, correcting choppy sentences. Lesson 2, day 2. Lesson 5, day 3. Lesson 5, day 4. Lesson 5, day 5, and then we're over here on our review, which I was trying to get to. So this is the complete review of all of the lessons 1 through 5. So here's day 1 that they're working on the review. And there's more review. So once you get to the review, if your child's having trouble, you can always go back and rework and redo some of the stuff they've worked on. And then you start a whole new lesson, and we're going to verbs over here. So with the, here is the teacher's manual, or the answers. So pretty much it just tells you lesson 1 sentences, lesson 1, day 1, here's your answers. And there's the answers for all of the stuff they are working on. Last year was my first year to teach Winning with Writing, and I loved it. So I started it with Becca this year. And there you go, lesson 6. If you have any questions about this curriculum, just drop them in the comments. For spelling, I am using Soaring with Spelling. All right, with Soaring with Spelling Level 2, you get the workbook and you get the answer sheet here. And it is designed for 5 lessons per week. And let me show you the table of contents, what each lesson is talking about. And there again, this is a 36-week program with a lesson for every day of the week. Okay, and what you do on day 1, here are all of the words and the definitions, which I love, love, love. So they're not just learning spelling, they're also learning the definitions in here. So on day 1 of every single week, you go over the words, and what you do is you take a practice test. And typically what I do is the words that are missed on the practice test, I make them write them 5 times each. And that is what we do on day 1. And then over here on day 2, there's just a worksheet you do. And we go over the words, I call them out, they spell them aloud. And that's all you do on day 2. Day 3, short little lessons here. Day 4. See, it's telling you to write a definition. And then day 5 is your spelling test that is used on here. And then you have lesson 2, day 1. And every week it's the same thing. You do the first lesson, which is the exact same. The lessons 2, 3, and 4 change up a little bit, but days 1 and 5 are always the same. And then we get to lesson 6. So we do 5 lessons and then we get to a review. And then here you are on your review. And so you do a review for the entire week. Lesson 2, lesson 3, or day 2, 3, and then 5. You can do a spelling test on day 5 if you want to for the reviews. If they're having trouble with certain words, that's up to you completely. And then you start a whole new 5 lessons, and then you'll have another review. And over here on the answer key, it tells you the answers for each lesson. And it also gives you the words for the week, so you can, so here, lesson 1, here is all the words for the week. So you can call them out to them without having to look in their workbook. And then here's the answers for the lessons. Very easy, simple program. I love it. Make sure to be watching out for Do a Lesson with Us videos, and I will show you how I use this. And then we're over here to our review. That was the flip through of Soaring with Spelling. And for grammar, I am using Growing with Grammar. Growing with Grammar Level 2 comes with a workbook, an answer key, and a test packet. And what I typically do is I do 3-hole punch in here, and I put it in a binder or some form of notebook so I can keep up with it. But it tells you when to do the test on here. Use after lesson 6, that's test 1, and then it tells you all of that. And the answers to all of the tests. Oops. Here's the way to score the test if you're keeping grades, which I do. And here are all the answers to the tests. And they are front and back. So in this lesson or this curriculum, you will have 8 tests throughout the year. But it's much easier just to 3-hole punch it and keep it all together. And then so your answer key for your test is with your test packet, but your answer key for your workbook is right here. And so let's see. Here is what is covered in level 2. You've got section 1, which is sentences. And then section 2 is nouns, pronouns, prepositions. So there's a lot going on in section 2. Then you get over here to section 3, which is verbs. Section 4 is adjectives, adverbs, and writing. And then here's your reviews. And let's see. My book got flipped around on me. Hang on. There we go. So lesson 1. These are not long lessons. I love this. You just read it and you do worksheets about it. And that is all lesson 1 right here. So typically you have 2 pages for each lesson. There's usually a lot of reading on the front, and then a worksheet, and then more work on the back, and then you go to each lesson. So they're not very long, not a whole bunch of work to do. It's straight to the point and very easy. I used this last year with my first grader and loved it. So it doesn't tell you when you need to take the test in here, so you need to make sure you're following along. It told us to take a test after lesson 6. So we're going to go to lesson 6. And so here we are practicing subjects and predicates. And then it just keeps going. As they get up in levels, it gets a little more intense, a little deeper into it. It starts basic here and builds as you go through all of the levels. So this is all you get with lesson level 2, Growing with Grammar. And I know it seems like a lot for language arts for a 2nd grader, but it is really not. It is a front and back page for each one of them, 1 lesson in the spelling a day, and it may take 30 minutes at the max, 10 minutes for each one of these. So it is not overwhelming, and they are not repeating. They complement each other amazingly. So I hope this gives you some ideas of some curriculum to use for 2nd grade. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. I would love to answer any question that you have for me. As always, remember to be kind, be careful, be considerate, and have a great day. Bye.